Hey guys, it's Ian Porter, aka Crimsix. I love the M4A1 and you guys should too. These are 5 class setups to help you guys out. Alright, so right now I'm still experimenting on, what's good in Respawn with all these attachments, guys. You can basically build the same guns almost with different attachments. Like you can almost have the same characteristics with different attachments. So I'm going to show you guys the main primary 3 Respawn classes that I use. This is one class setup. So Commando, the recoil stabilization, I'm pretty sure that's left and right recoil. So that helps with that. This attachment also, it makes movement speed slower, but it doesn't affect ADS time like most of these attachments do for the underbarrel stuff. Compensator, that's the positive recoil control. So so right now with these 2 attachments, I basically just made it so the gun is not gonna recoil side to side all that much, and it's not gonna go up and down all that much. So those 2 things really help out. The cons are ADS speed, aiming stability, and movement speed. I think if you're not using the stock M16 Grenadier or the Corvus Custom Marksman, you're kind of doing it wrong. For me, I use this. As you guys can see, bullet velocity. I think bullet velocity is actually really important because there is travel time in bullets. So, for example, when you're behind a guy and you shoot like 5 or 6 bullets, they're gonna register faster with this versus something like this where it says negative bullet velocity. So basically I can shoot 5 bullets, know that those 5 bullets are gonna hit, and I can just turn to the next opponent. Where on this, maybe he's running sideways and one of my bullets didn't hit, and I have to either go back towards him to finish the kill, or I have to shoot a couple more bullets. So it also helps with long range gunfights. Obviously that's sort of what this barrel is for. I think on every gun that you use in this game, you should use the biggest, longest barrel and then cater the other attachments to sort of like level it out. But yeah, so those are those first 3. TAC laser is OP in Respawn. I use it on everything. So ADS speed, aiming stability, aiming walking steadiness. The only con is that it's laser visible to enemies. So just be careful of that. But there's certain maps where, like, if it's really bright, if they're really bright maps, you really can't see the laser all too well. Don't really be paranoid when you're pre-aiming something. As long as you have cover and you're pre-aiming, even if they know where the laser, even if they see the laser, as long as you have cover, you should be able to win the fight. No stock, it's plus ADS speed. I think it's by more than even this one. So it's going to affect the recoil a lot. Like it says, negative recoil control. So I basically have +1 for side-to-side recoil and +1 for recoil control, if that makes sense. And then also with this, I'm moving a lot faster. I'm aiming down sight a lot faster. So I think this in Respawn is really important, just because it's Call of Duty at the end of the day. Like, you got to get to places before opponents, and that makes a huge difference. So, all right, first perk. If you're a sub player, you might want to use double time. I personally do not. I use EOD just to, tank nades and stuff like that. So when I'm on a head glitch, I think if you don't have like flak that you like, and you're using an AR, you're gonna get naded. Whether your opponent has an AR or a sub, you're gonna get naded. So AR players, you definitely should be using that. Perk 2. Right now, all these perks are pretty much useless. So we've been running Point Man. I think that's like the only perk that we can actually use, or that's useful. Also, you might want to use Tune Up. Tune Up, basically, you're going to earn Dead Silence or trophies a lot faster. But yeah, Battle Harden for me personally. That's what I'm going to use the most. Frag Grenade and Flash Grenade. So, or a Stun. I'm basically going to switch off. Like, basically, if they're running Tune Up, I'm gonna run a Flash Grenade because they last longer, and they're like, when you don't, when you don't have tac mask on, flash grenades are better than stun grenades, but when you're throwing flash or stun grenade at someone with battle harden on tac mask, stun grenades are better, so if that makes sense. All right, so that's one class. I'm testing this out, sort of like it. It feels very similar, but this is what I've been using the most. So it's pretty much same, these top three, same thing. And running Ranger and either rubberized or stippled. This is what I mean by you can have different attachments, but you might end up with like the same attributes or the same gun. Okay, so right here, compensator, that's vertical recoil. This is side to side, okay? So what you can do is, this is side to side recoil and this is vertical. So to me, I don't even notice the difference. I mean, there might be like very, very, very minor differences, but to me, you have two attachments that affect ADS speed. So this one is gonna zoom in a little bit faster, but I don't know how much the muzzle versus the underbarrel affects recoil. Like if underbarrel, has more of an effect on reducing recoil, then this is the better setup. But if vice versa, if muzzle has more of an effect, then the compensator one is a lot better. So all I'm doing, if you look closely at the image, it's the same setup, just a different way. This one obviously looks cooler in my opinion, so kind of like that one. And then this is the same one as before, but with the faster ADS speed. We play specialist streaks. Double time is always my number one. I should run tune up, and then that's what it should be. So that way you earn your dead silence or trophy system a lot faster when you get 2 kills. And then you start running faster at 4. And then, honestly, there's not really much else to use. Cold-blooded, I guess. But yeah, so the specialist streaks would be on every single class. But for now, let's do S&D classes. S&D with an AR, you're gonna be pre-aiming a lot, you're gonna be waiting, and you basically want a gun that's not gonna recoil and that's sort of mobile while you're aiming in. So for me, I'm gonna run, and I don't really like laser in S&D just because, it's that one, like basically they could see a laser on like a head glitch or something with no roof, and they're getting info on you because of the laser, and they could just they could just triple nade you, double nade you, whatever. So I don't like laser in S&D. For S&D right now, I'd probably run this setup. The Cronin's my favorite red dot on every single gun. So that's what I use. I use this stock. So this is basically, it's basically like stock. You're gonna be, when you're aiming in, you're gonna be moving side to side faster. It's just a lot better to play S&D, being able to like slow peek corners with an AR. I think that this, if you're gonna run an AR in search and you're not using this, or maybe this, but this is like super aggressive. This is like more pre-aiming and long range. So these are like my standard 4. So I'd either run this setup right here, or I would take this off and run something like this, or a muzzle brake. Actually, yeah, I'd run muzzle brake because this is a recoil one. S&D, I'm always using smoke. I think everyone should have a smoke grenade on, and that's why in S&D you should also use tune-up or battle harden. It depends. I think you should always switch it off. So basically, if you have dead silence, then I would run battle harden. But if you just used it last round and you're at like 0% progression, then I would switch to tune-up and just try to stay alive so you get that silence. But to finish out the last class, it's the same thing, compensator, but with commando. That was my 5 M4s, 3 for respawn, 2 for S&D. Try them out, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are my 5 M4 classes. Let me know what you guys use in the comment section below.